Hi, I'm Ashwini back again with Todd here giving another interview on a very interesting topic, emotions. This video is sponsored by Vivriti Foundation. For more information about Vivriti, you can reach us at www.vivriti.org. Hello Todd.
Hi Ash.
So, we see people using emotions as a source of power to make other people do what they won't otherwise do. And this happens right from childhood, a kid crying for candy to a girlfriend getting what she wants, to even much elder people. And most of these people do it without even knowing that they are doing it. As we Indians call it, emotional atyachar. Emotional blackmail?
Blackmail. Oh yes. Okay.
So, what do you think about it?
Well, I think it's worthwhile to remember that our emotions don't just stop at the surface of our skin. They radiate out and impact other people, and actually change the environment. You can really see this when, say, for example, a protest turns into a riot. All of a sudden, emotion arises and then it catches fire and then it moves through the crowd. Communication of emotion is very subtle and it's easy to misunderstand. But if you think of the look of disapproval in a parent's eyes, it's unmistakable communication. But the problem is we can provoke emotions with our thought through fictions, in the same way that we can be afraid of falling in a dream. It's like we're falling to our death. And then all of a sudden we wake up and then we realize that the person who was about to die didn't exist. But that mental construct of who we thought we were, that mental construct, the moment we identify ourselves with it, we feel threatened if something threatens it, when really it's just ideas passing in the mind. So the problem here is identification with a fictional self. But we imagine this self in different circumstances. We imagine what things mean about us. And we can get into trouble. It's one thing to stub your toe and to feel angry and hurt. It's another thing to think to yourself, well, that shouldn't have happened and it must be my karma. And all of a sudden we start explaining the world with our mind. And our emotion is relating to it rather than the world. And there's really no limit to how far we can go with that. But if we're imposing emotions that we manufacture in our mind on other people, we're basically abusing their empathy. We may not even be aware that we're wielding power. Power is the ability to make people do what they would not otherwise do. If you can't do that, you don't have power. But imagine for a moment a boyfriend thinking to himself he must not be important because his girlfriend didn't respond to his text message. Now, this is very common. And then he starts imagining, why do I put up with this? And yada, yada, yada. And then if he happens to see her in the midst of that, he may lash out. He may react or give her the cold shoulder. And she has no idea what's going on, when in fact, maybe her phone just ran out of power in her purse. And she has no idea that he was trying to get a hold of him. And we can see this is a very kind of common thing, but that emotion can rise up and start altering the circumstances, altering the environment. And when we see it happen to groups of people, it can even lead to war. Americans imagining weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and that they are an imminent threat. That wasn't true. And that was the justification for a dreadful war, the consequences of it that are still unfolding today. One of the things that we can do, if we are willing to take a few moments and quiet our mind, we can see that both thought and emotion come and go on the screen of our consciousness, passing like clouds in the sky. We don't have to identify ourselves with them. And oftentimes, as we've said, they're quite fictional. To realize that we don't have to believe or obey any thought or any feeling. is quite a remarkable understanding. We may choose to pursue and express a feeling, but we can do so consciously. Those of us who are passionate have even more reason to do this, because it's almost like we're walking on thin ice. At any moment, something can trigger that, and the emotion flare up, and we feel almost as if there's a pillar of fire within us. That really impacts other people. And if we've made up the whole thing, well, we're being unfair. I think this knowledge, this understanding, can really reduce the amount of unnecessary suffering we create in our lives.
Thank you, Todd. I wish more couples see this and just avoid this unnecessary suffering and creating unnecessary fights. So, what do you think about the video? Reply it in the comments below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.